Hi, this is Randy with Toxically Mail. I want to take a few seconds to highlight an issue that I find to be exceptionally important when addressing Toxically Mail and the issues we're trying to get across. We are not Republicans versus Democrats, politically. We're not party lines, going to be here about party lines, talking party lines. We're not here about the divisiveness, the disrespect, and the combativeness between both sides of the aisle as it stands. Now, while I lean very conservative, I find both sides to be more or less bought and sold by the same entities and two halves of the same coin and not very representative of the people that are elected to put them there. So with that being said, what Toxically Mail is truly about is about finding the quality of work you've always had and been able to achieve. It's about achieving quality of life that's always been within your grasp. And this is about becoming self-sufficient in life, especially in the world that we live in now. Take care of our brothers, take care of ourselves, take care of our families. Let's get back to work. Hi, this is Randy with Toxically Mail. With me, I've got my brother Chris. I got my brother Chuck. And this is kind of a special. We were planning the Veterans Day special, and we actually did get it recorded, but we had some technical difficulties, so we're starting from scratch. So my apologies for only putting out one this month when it was supposed to be two. So we're using a whole new recording software, and please give us your comments and suggestions if you see something that needs to be changed, or hell, if you like it better than what we were doing before. I'm already starting to like it. Now, you'll see that we are three of us on the call anyway. We are spread out across the country. Remember, I said Toxically Mail was covering a lot of states. I'm currently in Washington on business. Chris is back in, what, San Antonio?
Yeah, San Antonio. Yep.
And then Chuck, he is in where, Virginia?
Northern Virginia, right below Maryland on the islands.
Yep, so we're all doing work in, well, two of us are working out of state, and one is still back home. Well, anyway, so what we're talking about today, we're going to start with the Veterans Day special, and we're going to move on into some Thanksgiving Day stuff. So first off, we're going to introduce ourselves and because we're all veterans here, we're going to introduce ourselves and what we did in the military. I'm Randy, as most of you know. I was in the Navy for 21 years, retired khaki, which chief, senior chief, master chief, retired. And I was an aviation electronics technician, but I did do 2 ground tours, one in Afghanistan, one in Iraq as an electronics warfare officer working on the Warlock system. So if you're out there and you know what that is, give us a like. Chris, what about you?
20 years, retired as an E6 in the Navy, also an aviation electronics technician. So, Chuck?
Yeah, I was in the Air Force. I did 5 years active duty, did about 3 years in the reserve. I was an aerospace propulsion craftsman, basically a fancy word for jet engine mechanic, and it stuck with me. So even in the civilian life, I contracted for another 10 years and 22 years total in aerospace and aviation now, and always with the DoD defending this country.
Sure. I mean, I even worked in Kuwait for 3 years after I got retired out of the military doing a government contract. Chris, you done anything on the side? Well, no, actually, you went straight from the military to where we're at now, right?
Yeah, I had 2 days unemployment. It was terrible.
All right, so this is for Veterans Day, how it's starting off. Then we'll get into our Thanksgiving Day afterwards. But I wanted to cover a couple things. This is the major federal military holidays. So we have many, because most people get confused with how Veterans Day lines up with the rest. Armed Forces Day, which is the 3rd Saturday in May. That honors those that are currently serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. So Armed Forces Day is for the active duty. Well, it's even for the reservists, anybody that's actually serving right now. Memorial Day, that's the last Monday in May. It's a day of remembrance for those who have died in military service, not those who've died of old age afterwards. I mean, you can still celebrate that if that's your thing, but it's mainly for those that died in actual combat in service. And then you have Veterans Day, which is November 11th. day to thank all those who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. So that is for the vets, those that got out. I've seen a lot of confusion where people go in and they get the active duty, get their free meals and stuff like that. That's great. That's fine. I mean, celebrate them. But to be honest, till they actually get out, they're not a veteran. They're active duty. And then you have like some other notable military holidays. You got Purple Heart Day, which I didn't even know anything about. That's August 7th. That's recipients of the Purple Heart Medal, the people that were wounded in combat. I didn't realize, like I had talked to Chris about before, I didn't realize that we actually had a Purple Heart or a couple Purple Heart people that worked with us. One of them being Wendell. Hi, Wendell. If you're watching, Wendell served as EOD, actually bomb disposal. I guess he got wounded over there too.
Yes, yeah, 2 of them.
He has 2. Good Lord. Wendell. All right, and then we have, we'll go over the birthdays. Marine Corps birthdays was November 10th. That was relatively recent. When we were doing the original recording, it was the day before. So, yeah, so the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, that's when you feed the crayons to the Marines. Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day is December 7th. That is the day that will live in infamy, right? Is that what we said before?
Yep.
The day that will live in infamy.
FDR.
Yep. For those of you that are out there watching, if you're a vet or even if you're a regular person, civilian, the Pearl Harbor Memorial is something that I think everybody should see. I've only seen it once. Chris, didn't you say you had seen it or no?
Yeah. Yep. No, I've seen it and everything like that. And along with it, they just entombed the last USS Arizona veteran into it. So the last Arizona survivor is.
So yeah, he died of old age. Yep.
Yep.
So now he's down there with his brothers. So where he rightfully should be. And then you have the Air Force birthday, which is September 18th.
Who cares?
No.
The Chair Force. Yeah, we'll build our 5-star hotel before we even build the flight line. Gotcha. And then you have the Army birthday, which is June 14th. Navy birthday, October 13th. Space Force birthday, our newest brother, cousin, whatever, December 20th. National Guard, the Nasty Girl birthday is December 13th. And then last but not least, POW MIA Recognition Day, that's the 3rd Friday of September. So there's a lot of days out there, but for Veterans Day is for those that have did their time and got out, whether it be 4 years, 6 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, you got out. There was somebody was talking about this earlier. They were asking me whether a person that had not finished boot camp was a veteran. Because I guess there's something out there on social media right now about some guy having drama about being a veteran. As long as you have a duty, as far as legally is concerned, it's usually 24 months. But as long as you have a DD-214 and you were processed out via medical discharge or whatever, it has to be under honorable conditions. It cannot be dishonorable. Let's just say it can't be dishonorable. So other than honorable general discharge or honorable discharge, all count. Those can, as long as you have that DD-214 that says you got out and not under dishonorable conditions, you're considered a veteran. I didn't know that. I thought it was a minimum of 6 months, but nope. It's as long as you got that DD-214, you can make it 2 weeks into boot camp. If they medically separate you, guess what? You're a vet. Now,
yeah, that breaks down, Randy, into you signing your contract with the military saying you're coming in one way and they're going to send you home the same. And if they don't send you home the same, then you get those types of
true enough
accolades.
Right.
Doesn't happen often.
No, right, for sure. Now those that go into boot camp and that get booted out for failure to conform to military standards, no, sorry, they don't get that.
Yeah, you're not going to get you're not going to be a veteran if you shit your pants out the door of boot camp.
For sure.
I only say that because I witnessed that firsthand.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was gonna say, is that how you did
good
it?
times. I mean, did he seriously shit his pants or he just fucked up?
No, he shit himself.
Well, good God.
Oh,
One of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
We had the bedwetters. I remember those. What was the
You
other
can't.
ones?
We won't kick you out if you wet the bed, but if you shit the bed, you're gone.
Oh, no, we've kicked people out
that's
for
where the
wetting the bed,
line is.
pissing themselves. Yep. We've kicked people out for pissing themselves, and sleepwalking's another one. Well, at least for Navy boot camp. Wetting the bed and fucking sleepwalking. Yeah, that's a, you got to go, bro. All right, so since we're doing Veterans Day, we might as well talk about the different branches of service. There are 6 branches of service in the U.S. military. You have Army, which is your ground combat force. That's land-based operations. You have your Marine Corps. They do both land and sea. Even though they're old, well, your 2 oldest are going to be your Army and your Navy. But the Marine Corps was almost as old as the Navy because even, and believe it or not, they were founded in a bar. Go figure. But they used to be on when in the days of wooden ships and iron men, you still had Marines that were walking the decks of the ships, and they were there to repel boarders or to board other ships. So the Marines are pretty old. And then you have the Navy, of course, which is responsible for maritime operations, maintaining control and supporting land operations from the sea. We're also used for a lot of, or they're also used for a lot of things like chasing down, pirates, sea interdictions, maintaining seaways, making sure that the trade routes are open, and we're kind of like the cops of the world right now. Whether or not I believe in that, that's totally different, but that's what they do. Nothing more terrifying than parking a mobile airbase off the coast of another country. And it's just the carrier doesn't just go by itself. It's got its other picket ships with it, destroyers, cruisers, submarines, destroyers, cruisers, frigates, and so on. And then you have the Space Force, which is no, they're not used to hunt down aliens. It's a newer branch focused on space operations, including military space power, defensive technology, and communication. So, uh, without going too far into it, again, like I said, they're not hunting down aliens. They're up there maintaining our satellites, keeping a watch on everybody else, and if they have to, defend our satellites or shoot down the enemy's satellites. And then you have the Coast Guard, which focuses on maritime. You have 2 different types of Navy. You have blue water Navy, you have brown water Navy. Brown water Navy is pretty much the Coast Guard, and it's centered on the United States. So they're there for maritime law enforcement, safety, and security. I used to, when we were doing this before, I was talking about them being part of the Department of Transportation. Nah, bro, they haven't been a part of the Department of Transportation in a while. They're actually a part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, I think that change came back in
Remember we were
'01.
talking about that, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it 01? No, it had to have
Hmm.
been after 15. I don't know. I'd have to look. But I remember them being a part of the Department of Transportation. Well, anyway, they do drug interdictions and chasing off pirates, all that kind of shit too. And then you have your nasty girls, which is National Guard. They're reserve forces for the Army and the Air Force, and it can operate under state authority or be federalized, which we're seeing a lot of right now. I was Navy, Chris was Navy. Chuck, what were you again?
Air Force. Hmm. Hey, pick up on the National Guard. I was gonna say pick up on the National Guard thing. The Air Force has the reserve unit as well. I'm not sure if the other branches have that. I should know that, but I don't. But
all the branches, all the other
yeah,
branches have reserve units, but only
they
the
do
Air
have reserve.
Force and the Army have a National Guard unit.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. So I stayed with the feds in the reserve until my time was up.
Nice.
Yeah, because well, even though Randy and I retired, we're still inactive. We're still inactive reserve until we hit 30 years.
I'm not. I
Oh,
just
gotcha.
hit that.
Oh, gotcha. That's right. You're old. I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah. That ain't
Uh,
that old, homie.
Okay. Yeah.
God damn, bro. But yeah, September 1st of this year is when I am now off the list.
Ah, gotcha. I got 5 more years.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you enjoy that. So if World War III comes out of the three of us, wait, I don't know, Chuck, when did you get out?
I got off active duty in 07. Did 3 years of the reserve after that. So that initial 8-year commitment that's come and gone over a decade ago.
So what about your 30-year mark? When did you actually join?
In 02. That's fine. Me and Chris will tuck you into bed and we'll go and fight for your fucking freedom.
Read you
I
a
got
little
nothing.
bedtime
I got
story.
nothing but props for everybody else. Dude, if shit goes south, I might even volunteer to go.
Oh, I'd be a terrible
Anyway,
killer. I was before, but
yeah,
I'd be even worse now.
yeah, I know, man. I'd have to do a lot of changing again. That's for damn
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, we
We'll
need to
get
do
into
this.
that
Yeah.
here pretty shortly
Fuck, I
too.
am. I'm gonna sit here and do this shit. Chuck it.
I'd be talking to the leadership. Do you even know what the fuck you're doing?
Yeah, unless we're launching rockets, man, I got nothing to give.
Yeah,
Like I
for
can't
sure.
launch an aircraft. I haven't done that in over.
All
I
we're
haven't done
doing
that in
is we're
50
gonna be
years.
consultants. We're gonna be sitting there drinking beer, telling them what they're doing wrong and how we used to do it better back in our day.
Yeah,
That's
you let me
right.
know how that goes for you, bro. You'll probably be sitting there with a cup of coffee, or
Right.
Monsters, or Rippets, whatever. So now that we've covered that shit, we should also talk about how to enlist. So any of you that are out there thinking about joining the military, if you got kids that are looking at joining the military, I am not going to say anything bad about the military. It was the most rewarding experience of my fucking life. Do I miss shit? Yeah, some of it. Well, most of it. But I definitely don't miss all of it. But I will say this for those of you that are watching that are thinking about joining the military, if you're coming in just because of college education, um, I would rethink everything. I'm not, Chris calls me the doom and gloom, but I've seen it. Hell, I'm part of it. If you think you're joining the military to not have to go to combat, I would rethink everything all over again. Now, some jobs will not require you to go to combat. You might be in a combat zone, but you won't be. You may not. You most likely won't be. You know, walking around with a rifle, but or actually in a combat situation. It all depends on the jobs, but the days of not going to combat or pretty much over, especially with the recruiting quotas the way they are and the lack of recruits they're getting. But how to enlist? Join a branch of the military. You must first be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. Some things actually, there are some instances where that's not true. Depends on what kind of agreements we have with other countries. I've had a couple recruits come through when I was a drill instructor that were getting naturalized while they were in boot camp. We had made that agreement with them. You'll see that in a lot of other places too. But permanent green card or permanent residents can join too. Problem with that is if your job that you're looking for requires you to have a security clearance, not going to happen. You have to have you be a U.S. citizen in order to have that security clearance. So Oh, you also have to meet age and physical fitness standards, which we'll get into those fitness standards here shortly. You have to possess at least a high school diploma or equivalent, your GED, and you have to pass the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, otherwise known as the ASVAB. How high you rate on that ASVAB or how high you rank on that ASVAB will determine what kind of jobs you can have in the military. And you have to be medically and morally qualified at MEPS. So if you pass, let's say you go into a recruiter's office or they talk to you at high school or college or whatever, and you go into a recruiter's office they're going to sign you up for the ASVAB if they didn't already sign you up for that in high school. Some high schools will put that test out there for people just to know where they fucking stand and shit. I think Chris, you were even talking about that, right?
Yeah, my daughter took it her junior year, so she graduated this year and stuff like that. Her junior year, she signed up for it and took it and stuff. Like the recruiters show up and they say, "Hey, he wants to take the ASVAB," and kids sign up and then they take it and stuff. And if you don't do well on that initial ASVAB, you can take it again. Just go to your recruiter, study for it. They have books out there, and you can that way if there's a specific job you need a certain score for it, you can study and try to get that score to get that job.
For sure. Um, as far as that goes, I think it's you get so many tries in a certain amount of time, and then you have to wait 6 months. I'd have to check on that again. But either way, if you're really serious about joining the military, I would sit down. You can get the study books online, or you can either go to Barnes and Noble or talk to the recruiter. He could tell you exactly where to go for whatever branch of service you're interested in, and study up on it. That way, you can get the best test possible or the best job possible. So after your ASVAB test, you have to be medically and morally qualified at the Military Entrance Processing Station, otherwise known as MEPS, which is a fun place for all of us. Every one of us will probably say the same thing. We had doctors staring at our butthole that all looked like they came from World War II. Anybody else had that? I know I did.
Yep.
It
And
was
the
three
duck
fucking
walk, the
white-haired
naked,
dudes walking around with clipboards. Yep.
yep, the naked duck walk, which Chuck was showing us that earlier.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a show and tell.
Yeah. Now the um, medical, we'll get into that when we cover the toxic check because we do have one today. Um, but morally qualified, a lot of that has to do with like security clearance and shit like that. I mean, morally, the big one is you can't be a felon. Certain misdemeanors can even get you disqualified. We don't want, or they don't want criminals in the military. So of course not.
And
Um,
some drug charges will also keep you from getting security clearances as well. Like if you have a marijuana charge and stuff, they can
for
prevent you
sure.
from. You can join, but you can't get a security
Mhm.
clearance.
All of your training can be converted over to college credits if you're trying to go to college afterwards or even while you're doing it. Um, I was command security manager back in the day, and if you bounce too many checks, if your credit score sucks, you ain't getting a security clearance. If you owe too much debt, you ain't getting a security clearance. They want to make sure that you're not going to sell secrets to the foreign adversary just to get your ass out of a fucking sling. You know what I mean?
I was going to say during the MEPS process too, right? We're going over this morally high ground road. The ability to tell the truth goes a long way. You know, young kids, they get in trouble. It happens. Everybody does. Young adults, same thing. Accidents happen, right? You live and learn sometimes the hard way. But having the humility and the sack to say it up front and say that you fucked up, that could get you to the next step where if you don't think they're going to know about that traffic ticket or that fine you didn't pay for jaywalking, they know and they want to know if you're going to tell the truth. And if you don't tell the truth, you might as well not even try.
Well, I mean, that also comes to with the people that are out here watching this shit. Um, but a man is only as good as his word. You better be telling the truth anyway, even if it sucks. You still got to tell the fucking truth.
I got
Yeah.
hooked up for minor in possession of alcohol 2 weeks before I was supposed to go. And I went to my recruiter and I told him I fucked up. And my recruiter went with me to the courthouse and he vouched for me in front of that judge
Mm.
and said, Judge, I got him. I got him for the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna make sure he gets out of town and he gets his life together. And that judge let me go. And that 3 weeks later, I was down in MEPS and they asked if I had any issues or any problems. Now I had gone through court and all that thing. It was wiped away. It was nothing. I still told him about it. And my recruiter followed up with me and said, it's a damn good thing you did, because he had told the MEPS department to ask me that specifically to see if I would fess up.
They even used to have that back in the day. Well, I mean, it wasn't as, I wouldn't say easy as yours, but yours was based on your integrity. They used to have that back in the day, though, that judges would bust people and say, you either join the military or you go to jail. But that doesn't happen so much anymore. I haven't heard of that happening in a long fucking time.
I think there was one guy
Bring
in
it back.
my class.
I like it.
There's boot camp class. Just one guy. He was kind of a little bit of a troublemaker, not serious, but they said, hey, either get your shit together, join, or you're just gonna end up in jail. But not quite ordered.
The general requirements to join the military, we already talked about citizenship. You got to be a U.S. citizen, permanent green card holder, permanent citizen, being resident, and to enlist. And there are other opportunities, but they're limited. Age 17 to 41. 17 is with a waiver. I had to come in on a waiver because I was too damn young when I signed the shit. But they also have what's called DEP, Delayed Enlistment Program, to where you can go and play with the other deppers and run around the field, push ups, sit ups, everything that you're going to have to do for the PT test, your physical training test, and basically wait it out until you can go to boot camp. Some people have different stories. You can just get in on a waiver. It all depends on the situation. Then, of course, like we said, you have to pass the ASVAB test, which is kind of like a mini SAT, ACT type deal. Your medical and physical fitness. If you're busted, you're not allowed. If you're medically fucked, you're not going to be allowed to join. And then your moral and legal standing. You must be free of disqualifying criminal records and cannot be under any form of judicial restraint. So how to apply? Contact a recruiter. I mean, there's shit all over the internet right now, the social media, about states or cities or whatever, schools, sending out, well, it's schools actually, sending out letters to parents and saying the recruiters, you can either choose to say no and not have your child's information released, or you can choose to say yes and allow them so recruiters can talk to your children. Now, for us, most of us, it's not a big deal. I mean, I can't think of too many people that wouldn't be proud to have their children serve in the fucking military. But this ain't new. Um, Recruiters have always gone to high schools and colleges, set up tables and shit like that, and talk to kids and all that kind of junk. Back in the old days, it was with the fucking phone book, and they called around to make sure they'd get a printout of whatever the kids' names were from the high schools, and then look it up in the phone book and call around and cold call and shit like that to try to get their quotas filled. And by quotas, if a specific job in the military is lacking, they don't have enough manpower, then that will be the one that the recruiter is required to push. Um, that doesn't always mean you should take it. That's what he's trying to push. And Chris and I and a couple of the other vets had talked about this the other day. If it's a job you want, you've already done your research and that's what you want to do, wait it out. Tell them I want to apply for this specific job. Sometimes the jobs will be overmanned and they won't let you, join at that time. Wait it out if that's the case. There will be a time when it comes around. But yeah, how to apply? Contact a recruiter. Prepare for the ASVAB, like we were saying. Get those study guides. Then if you pass it, which I would hope most people do, you're going to go to MEPS. And then you're going to have to pass that physical exam. They're going to do your background check and all that kind of shit and then qualify for a job. Once that's over and done with, your recruiter is going to set you up a date to go to fucking boot camp. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. So that's pretty much how to join.
I had a pretty unique experience, and I think it helped me out quite a bit. I had a change of heart of my jobs, as you were saying there, Randy. I initially signed up to be an air armament technician, so to load bombs on planes.
Mm,
And I had a leave date that was like 8 months out, and I thought about it, and I was still young. I was 18 years old.
mm,
My uncle had just retired, and he's like, "Well, if I had to do it over again, I would do a job that I could do as a civilian."
mm.
And he left it at that. And I was thinking about it. I was like, "Well, I guess there really ain't many civilian jobs out there where you load bombs on airplanes." So I went back to my recruiter. I asked if I could change. He said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, 3 jobs. I want to be a firefighter, a cop, or a jet engine mechanic. So whichever one of those pops up first, the first available, sign me up. Don't call me. Just put me on the books and let's go." And I was thinking I was going to go be a cop, and all service, all branches need cops all the time. Well, jet engine mechanics were the lowest of the rung. They needed people right now, and I got called up, and that's how I got my job.
That works too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
If somebody asked me, and I know there's been kids out there that have caught me out in town and shit like that, and said, "Sir, if you had to do it all over again, what branch would you join?" Bro, as much as I talk shit about the Air Force, I would probably join the Air Force. Like for Navy medics and Navy aviation and Navy security, they don't get the certificates unless they ask for them and have to pay for it out of their pocket to do the job out in the civilian sector. Same thing with Army, same thing with the Marine Corps. But the Air Force, you can get your A&P license while you're in. Their combat medics can actually get their EMT license while they're in. If I was to do it all over again and get set up for a job on the outside, I would probably go Air Force. No shit.
And it depends on what you want. You know, the thing is, the most important thing is to be honest with yourself, right?
Mm.
18 years old, 19, 20. If you can remember that long ago, Randy, we all wanted to be badasses. We all we all wanted to have the sweet guns and the sweet gear and be elite, right? But come on, let's break it down. An elite military member is the equivalent to a professional athlete. It's less than 1% of the population. So get over it.
Mm.
Think about something that you're really passionate about, that you really like, and stick to it. Don't deviate from that. Go get, you want to be an EMT, you want to be in the medical field. You can still be elite and be in the medical side of thing, right? Air Force has the PJs, pararescue men. But whatever it is you do, stick to it. Don't deviate, because it'll make or break your career. If you go a different route for whatever reason, if you're in trouble at home and you're just trying to get out of town, don't go join the infantry, right? Like go apologize, pay your fine, whatever the hell you got to do, get right. But don't just jump into something to get out of town or to run away from something,
Oh,
because then
amen.
you end up like some of the people we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yep, and that brings me to another point. Um, I joined because I wanted to get out of town, and it was also because it was family tradition and all that kind of jazz. That's why I joined to serve my fucking country, and that lasted maybe 6 years. After that, I slowly learned that I didn't stay in because of I was trying to protect the civilians of this great nation or anything like that, which I'll apologize to you all now, the civilians out there. I didn't stay in for that anymore. I stayed in because my brothers and my sisters are next to me. Especially when you get into combat. It isn't about protecting your nation or protecting anything else. You're fighting a war for old men that can't come to a suitable agreement, and they're not going to slug it out. So they'll send out the sons and daughters of this nation to fight sons and daughters of another nation. You get to the point where you are only out there to protect the dude or the chick next to you. Um, And then you stay in even longer when you start watching the amount of recruits or the type of recruits that come in. You start staying in even longer because you don't even trust the new ones to protect your brothers and sisters that you've already spilled blood with, and that's why you fucking stay. So that's another thing that people need to look at. I am not trying to dissuade anybody from joining the military at all. Like I said, best thing that ever fucking happened to me. Hell, it groomed me for the person I am today. I've, with my degree and shit like that, I wouldn't be making as much money as I got now, and that all came from military training, and then got me into fucking trade skills. So now, which
I
comes
would do it. I would do it again, but I would do it better. I would try harder.
well,
You know,
yeah. I mean, hindsight's
ignorance is
2020, bro.
yeah, yeah. But 100% without a doubt, I would sign my name down. I would go do the same thing day after day. I'd be back there. Again, knowing what I know today, I would do better.
Yep.
Which brings me to a big point for Veterans Day. So you hear a lot of shit online or in social media where a specific type of people say, I'm not going to thank a veteran. They didn't do anything for me. They didn't fight for my freedoms. They didn't fight for my rights. They're not fighting for other people's rights. They're just fighting foreign wars for money. My thing is, for those type of people especially, and for those of you that are watching that can tell these people that, absolutely thank a veteran, because if you didn't have a volunteer military, you would have a drafted military. So because those people volunteered to serve, your ass don't have to. So they're doing the job so you don't have to. You hate it so much? Fine. Thank a veteran so that you're not actually getting drafted out there. And why do I like volunteer militaries instead of drafted militaries? Um, Volunteer military, you have incentives to stay in. You get the retirement, the disability, the free health care, that kind of shit. I wouldn't say free. Free for yourself. You still got to pay for your family. But there's a lot of incentives for you to stay in and retire, especially me that is so against social programs. Why do I believe in that when it's a social program? Well, that's easy. The United States is as powerful as it is um, because we have the strongest military, and that's not just because we spend so much money on it. I mean, partially it is because those are the incentives. If you didn't have those incentives for people to stay in, they would never get good at their jobs. You wouldn't have the great generals and great colonels and great admirals and people that are really good at warfighting if you did not give them a reason to stay in. You learn through muscle memory. You learn through study. So if you're going to get drafted, like we had talked about well, I'll just ask you, Chris, if you were forced to do something for 4 years, what are you going to do at the end of that 4 years? You going to stay?
Oh, I'm going to do the shittiest job possible, the bare minimum.
What about you, Chuck? If you're forced to do it for 4 years, are you going to stay?
I get locked up.
If I was forced to stay in, I definitely would not have done what I did. So, yes, thank a veteran. If your idea is they didn't do anything for me, yeah, absolutely thank a veteran. Because if you hate the military so much, they're there so you don't have to be. If they weren't there and they didn't have enough people, you get drafted in and you would be out there doing exactly what you don't think you should be or anybody else should be doing. You would be forced to do it. So that's my thing for Veterans Day. Thank a veteran if you believe in the military, and also thank a veteran if you absolutely hate the military, because at least they're there so you don't have to be. Which brings me to some unfortunate shit. Not my favorite topic to cover, which is the Veteran 22. You all know about that? Chris, you know about Veteran 22?
Yep. 22 veterans commit suicide daily.
Yep. What about you, Chuck? You heard about it?
Yeah, near and
This
dear.
this is some nasty shit. This is actually something that's near and dear to most veterans' hearts. 22 veterans on average commit suicide per day. There's a lot of programs out there. You hear about the 22 a day statistics and awareness and prevention efforts, fitness challenges, they come up. So I'm just going to talk about why that's there. You have got a lot of people that go out there and do shit that nobody should ever fucking do and see shit that nobody should ever fucking see. It doesn't matter who you are, or where you came from, or what your background is. You won't know until you get there. Horrors of war are not something that people should ever have to deal with, but unfortunately, it still fucking happens. I have my own problems with it, but I had to grow up and ask for fucking help. I had to man up and ask for help. So if you are suffering from PTSD or you know a family member that is also suffering from PTSD, get them some help. Get yourself some help, get them some help. There are several different numbers out there that you can call. The big ones for the VA hotline are 988. Again, that's the call for the VA suicide hotline, 988, or text 988 or 838-255. Again, you can call 988 or text 988 or 838-255. Get them some help. They're gonna be pissed off at you. They might thank you later. Now, for those of you that are suffering from the fucking trauma and you need somebody to talk to, call the number. Talk to somebody. I mean, suicide, at least in my opinion, suicide is the coward's way out, and that's not how we were fucking trained. And when I say that, the coward's way out, you are not saving anybody fucking pain. All you're doing is transferring your pain to your family members and your friends. Why would you want to do that? I mean, our whole background is to protect those who can't protect themselves and to be the shield for those that need to be defended. Why would you do that to your family and or friends? I don't know your story, but I will say this. It takes a grown man to ask for help when it is fucking needed. Don't take it on your family. Don't take it out on your kids. Don't take it out on your friends. Ask for help. Now, we talked about the VA hotline, 988 or 838-255. I check the social media daily. If you're having an issue and you need somebody to talk to, brother, message, DM me, DM the Toxically Male channel on Instagram. It doesn't matter if it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. Message me and we'll sit down and talk. I'll give you my number and we'll sit down and talk. And I know that all of the military brothers, which is most of us that are in Toxically Male, I know most of them, if not all of them, will be willing to sit down and talk with you too. So ask for help. And if you need somebody to talk to, shit, talk to me.
The
So
best thing about that, Randy,
yep,
a phone call don't cost nothing.
that's for damn sure.
It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It takes a little bit of time. Takes a little courage to hit a couple buttons, but it doesn't cost nothing. No money. Just find a corner, find a quiet spot, talk to a stranger. Sometimes that goes a very long way.
For sure. For sure. And those of us here will be willing to listen. I'm not a therapist, but I'll listen to what you have to say. And I'll at least try to point you in the right direction as far as who to talk to otherwise. If it's you just need to bounce your head off a fucking wall, and that comes with my brothers too. They just need to bounce their head off a fucking wall. Give me a call. I'll listen. Yeah. So let's keep that 22 down. It should be 0. And I know that'll never fucking happen, but they say I am my brother's keeper. I absolutely am. I will definitely try to help you out. It doesn't matter who you are. So enough with the sad shit. Let's get into our toxic check. Yeah? So the toxic check is anything that's put out in the media that affects blue-collar males or just men in general and affects our day-to-day operations. And we will either attempt to prove or disprove the actual information and put it up in either the comment section or on the screen itself. We'll put it in the comment section. I know a lot of people actually just listen to us and they don't actually watch us. Fine, great, whatever your medium is, the information will be available because we don't want you to take our word for it. We want you to be able to look up the factual information and make the determination for yourself. So today, what we're doing, since it's Veterans Day, and this one's a little bit different because the facts probably won't come out for another couple years. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Veterans See Costs and Risks in Hegseth's Military Rewind to 1990. Basically, what the article breaks down is all the people that we have in the military that are not meeting physical standards, or not meeting medical standards, and not meeting mental standards that they need to leave. That is going to ruin our military. But they're saying that by looking back 35 years for policy cues, he risks hurting, not helping military readiness. Now, that might be a short-term thing, but it definitely won't be a long-term thing. So let's just break down what he's talking about before I get into any of the opinionated shit or the discussion. So he's talking about, which I don't understand, daily PT or daily physical training. Well, hell, everywhere I'd been that you had to do daily physical training wasn't enforced now. I mean, you still had fat bodies in the military too, in the Navy too. But now they're trying to enforce the daily PT standards. I try to go to the gym every fucking day. And then it talks about enforced 2 annual tests. That's always been there. This is the one that I think is probably the most controversial. Gender neutral standards for combat roles. Those in combat jobs must meet a new gender neutral age norm standard referred to as the highest male standard. Now, the highest male standard, as far as I know, is 18-year-old male. Now, why is that important? I absolutely think this is important. I think it's going the right way, and I'll ask you guys about it in a second. Not saying anything against the underweight dudes out there, but if I've got a 135 or 155 pound dude in combat with 220 pounds and 210 pound dudes, I want him to be able to drag their bodies, or their not bodies, their wounded selves out of combat. And when you're out there, you're wearing all of your armor, you're carrying a weapon, and you're usually with a 50-pound pack. So add another 75 to 100 pounds to it. You got to be able to drag that motherfucker out. So, of course, we want the highest military standards as far as physical norms go. So, yeah, you definitely don't want lighter weight people. I mean, there's always an exception to the norm, but the average would be they can't drag that person out of combat to get them help. Also, you want the endurance and the strength to be able to do what has to be done. You run out of ammunition, you're going to still have to fight hand to hand, and you still need to be able to make those forced marches, forced runs to get to where the enemy is, or out of combat, depending what the situation might be. So yeah, as far as the combat goes, I absolutely believe in the increased standards. Now, for everybody else in the military, I was always taught, and I try to teach my troops this, you're a sailor first, whatever your job is second. So you have to meet those standards. And if you're wanting to get promoted, because we have different promotional scales, if you're not doing exceptionally well on the physical standards, you're not going to get promoted. And I don't believe in dropping standards just to set a new one. I mean, you want the peak performers out there. You don't want the minimal. Why? If you're constantly rewarding mediocrity, there will never be a desire, or there will never be excellence. I mean, pride will only get you so far. If pride don't pay the fucking bills, if you're constantly rewarding the mediocre. So you definitely want to keep that bar high. It's what you want to strive for. So no, I don't believe in reducing standards for anything, and I absolutely do agree with increasing standards for combat operations. Um, some people may not agree with this, then great, that's fine. We'll find out in a couple years. The other one was um, appearance policies, facial hair. Yes, I love having my beard. As soon as I got out of the military, I grew my fucking beard out. Most everybody in here, or in Toxically Male, has a beard. Having a beard in the military is, while that would be nice, people can argue this all day, but we've seen it both in firefighting or in CBR suits, which is chemical, biological, and radiological suits, and then in average work where you have to have a respirator. If you have facial hair, you're not making a proper fucking SEAL, and it's a safety thing. And then also, you talk about the fact that the military is supposed to be uniform. I mean, can't be uniform if there are standards for some and not standards for others, you know? That ain't gonna work. Um, so the facial hair thing and people getting pissed off about it, whatever, dude. I mean, you got your medical stuff and all that kind of jazz. There will be exceptions to the rule. But if it's all the time, don't be fucking joining the military. If you're getting razor bumps nonstop, don't join the military. And then there are waivers, you know, that we were talking about, medical conditions, and must be approved by unit commanders, commanding officers, medical, whatever the fuck. They're going to set a standard. They're going to have paperwork out there saying who can do it, when they can do it, and how often they can fucking do it. If it happens quite often and you are not, I mean, if everybody else has to do it and you aren't fucking doing it, don't expect to get promoted. You have to be exceptional. I know that's a very unpopular fucking belief to have, but I mean, if you're trying to get promoted early, you have to be better than everybody else. If you already have a tractor, don't expect it.
It's as simple as just like meet the standard, man. Just meet the standard.
Mhm.
There's a set of rules set out in front of you. There's a set of expectations set out in front of you. You raised your hand. You said you could do it. So just go do it.
Right? Absolutely. You made the agreement. Do it.
Hey, not to mention with PT, everybody should be on board with this. Obesity is out of control. It's outrageous. And if the hundreds and thousands of active members, millions even, whatever it is these days, are doing PT 3 times a week, you know, let's bleed that out into the regular population, man. Let's get Susie down the road doing the same thing. Like let's do some PT 3 days a week. Let's get this country under control.
Yeah, well, and as well,
For
people
sure.
were all against what Pete Hegseth said, but then when those Texas National Guard guys, that photo was taken, then all of a sudden, like, oh, the military's so fat. It's like, hey, it's one or the other. They need to be in shape, or you know, the fat people can stay. It's not either or. It's one or the other.
Right. And see, I think that's also part of the reason is just is the looks. It's that intimidation I was talking to you about. If I mean, you look like a bag of ass. Nobody's gonna fucking. You're gonna have to fight it out. In other words, they're not gonna be intimidated enough to fucking stop. So, other reforms, hazing and bullying. I'm still waiting for this. I don't even know what the definitions that he's talking about that are being revised. We had talked about this the other day. People tacking on crows or getting their blood wings when they put their aviation pins on or their combat, medals, all that kind of junk. I have no idea what they're talking about. In some cases, the hazing and bullying, I absolutely believe in because it teaches everybody a lesson. Some things go too far, some things don't. Before I even talk about it, I'd rather just see what he has to say about it. And then a big one that I believe in is training. He's planning on doing a reduction or elimination of excessive training. Death by PowerPoint and computer-based training. If you don't need it, why do we keep fucking taking it? I mean, if you're going to, I understand that we learn by muscle memory and by practice. That's great. But some of these things are just too fucking excessive. You're sitting more in front of the computer than you are doing in your fucking job. But that happens everywhere. There needs to be a happy medium. I absolutely believe in training, and not in the excessive amount that we get. If they can't retain knowledge, they shouldn't have made it past the entrance to begin with. That's my
You know,
thing.
I believe in training too. I also believe it needs to be relevant.
Exactly.
If you
Yeah.
send me to fire extinguisher training and show me a video from 1980 with a guy shooting a fire extinguisher that doesn't even exist anymore, that is a waste of my time.
Right. For sure.
Let's
And then,
let's build it up. Let's do better. We can do
yep.
better. Training
Mm-hmm.
is great across the board. I think we all agree with that.
Mm,
First aid, buddy care, fire extinguisher,
mm-hmm.
enemy combat. It needs to be relevant, especially today. You know,
Mm-hmm.
things have changed. Things
A lot
change
of things
daily.
change.
So let's keep that shit relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just ditch those 80s videos finally, please? Can we get rid of that shit?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's like for the cat card training or the computer IT training. I still dream about that fucking face of the dude. No, I'm not going to help you out or whatever. Hey, do you mind if I use your card to scan in the door? Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm so tired of seeing that dude like 2-3 times a year, you know? I think it was once a quarter for fucking cybersecurity. God
Well, and then
damn.
also don't
We
forget
get it.
every time there was a cybersecurity incident, we had to redo the training.
Oh, we had to do it again. Yep. All right. And then the last thing that he was talking about, which I want to cover a bit, not too much, but we'll go ahead and get the unpleasant out there, which is the medical side of the house. If you have a medical problem, be it mental or physical, don't expect to join the military. They want the warfighters that can be out there and doing the job now. For a lot of these people that are requesting waivers and shit like that to be able to join the military, if it happened to me while I was in, they would have med boarded my ass out. They would have kicked me out. If you have a chronic illness or a chronic medical condition or a chronic mental condition, they're not going to keep you in. You're a danger to yourself and you're a danger to others. Plus, you're also costing the taxpayer dollars. Who pays the salaries for the military members? And who pays for their equipment? Who pays for their clothing? Who pays for their food? Everything is paid for by the taxpayers. So you're just increasing costs by what? Just so you can be in? Fuck that shit. We want the excellent. We want the top. This is not a place to come and play to get yourself fixed or to be a social experiment.
Hey, and to those people, I want to say, you know, if you want to serve, you want to be a part of the military, the government, you want to protect this country and this nation. Don't give up on the military. There's plenty of other opportunities outside of the armed forces to do so. So don't don't force yourself in a way that's going to hurt you or somebody else. Find a different route. There's millions of them out there, and it has just as much of an impact as anything else.
Sure. For sure, there's always other ways to serve other than actually being in the armed forces. So don't give up on it. But I'm saying when you're coming in, um, don't come in to get your medical issues fixed or your mental issues fixed or anything like that. That is not fair to the taxpayer, and that is not fair to your brothers and sisters that are in combat with you. They shouldn't have to deal with all that shit. Um, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Sounds pretty fucked up, but I'll stand by it. We want the best of the best. We don't want the weak. Because a lot of the arguments right now is it's a technological military. Well, that only goes so far. Yes, you can pound the fucking dirt with missiles and bombs and aircraft and drones and all that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to move ground forces in to police the area, occupy the area, and either enforce a takeover or regime change. You don't fight wars for any other fucking reason. You don't just go walk in there, blow shit up, and go, yep, sorry, bye, I'm good. That's not how it fucking happens. You have to make sure they are unable to fight or have the will to fight you again, or your objectives are met, whatever those objectives are. So when it comes to our toxic check, when it comes to the Pete Hegseth deals, people are up in arms about it, but I don't even see anything wrong with it. And we'll post the information up so you can see it for yourself. Um, the next couple of years are going to tell. Yes, are we going to hit a big recruiting problem now? Yes. The people that want to be there will eventually meet the standards and be there. Otherwise, there's going to be a fucking draft. And then you're going to be forced to meet the standards whether you like it or fucking not. I mean, it's either shit or get off the pot. I don't see a problem with it. And that's just me. But we will definitely post the information below so everybody can see that. And I do not see the military becoming weaker. I only see the military becoming stronger. And that has nothing to do with my political affiliation. That has to do with my belief in the military. And because the overall objective is to kill as many of them as you can while losing as little as you can of your own. I mean, if they're not exceptional, then what's the fucking point? You're just going to get yourself or somebody else fucking killed. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about that.
No.
Chuck, Chris, anything?
Do
All right.
better.
So be better. So Veterans Day is already coming past, and like we said, there's been a lot of confusion about out there about it, which I still don't understand. But I mean, there's a lot of benefits joining the military and staying in the military: retirement, training, college education, college credits towards your education, um, disability. If something, God forbid, something ever happens to you, they'll take care of you. Plus, like in Texas, each state is different, but like in Texas, if you're a 100% disabled veteran, guess what? You don't pay property tax. And anything above 50% is a percentage of the property tax taken off. And then there's businesses, your LLCs that you don't have to pay for, the initial filing, or you don't pay your corporate or franchise business tax for the first 5 years. You only have to pay the federal deal. There's a lot of benefits out there to being in the military after you get out. Now, what's the benefit of while you're in? Training, camaraderie, taking care of your fellow man, protecting those who can't protect themselves, serving a nation,
pride.
and a shit ton of fucking pride, for sure, for sure. All right, so that's all for the veterans portion of it. Now we're going to get to the last bit, which is Thanksgiving. And we were going to talk about some of the things that we're thankful for and Thanksgiving traditions that we have or our families have had and so on. For me, what am I thankful for? Well, first off, I'm thankful for my health. I'm alive. Thankful for my kids and my family. Really, above all else, I'm thankful for my brothers. Without my brothers, my life would not be as entertaining or as meaningful as it is now. I take care of my own, and they take care of me. As far as Thanksgiving traditions, I can't think of too many, that we actually had. We have a lot of Christmas traditions, which we'll come to that in another episode. But Thanksgiving Day traditions, we end up having 2 different families Thanksgiving, which means that we all ended up fat for the fucking day. Go into the grandma's house, everybody's there from one side of the family, and they all sit around and eat turkey and watch the football game. Of course, your Thanksgiving is a great day for football. And then watch the Thanksgiving Day parades, and pretty much that was about it. It was almost like a family reunion. And then at the end of the later on in the day, we'd go to the other side of the family and do their thing. So it was a lot of coordination. But yeah, that's pretty much my Thanksgiving Day tradition. Usually the cooking started the night before and didn't end until like noon, 1 o'clock that day. So, Chuck, Chris, you got anything? Anything different?
So for us, the tradition was red cabbage. My stepdad got a recipe from his mom, who is Danish. No, his dad was Danish, she was from New York and everything. So red cabbage, cooking red cabbage all day and then eating that. So it was only at Thanksgiving and Christmas we'd get that everything. So I look forward to it. So I do miss that.
What about you, Chuck?
This might sound fucked up, but
I
my
expect
wife
nothing
and
less.
I have gotten into this. My wife and I have gotten into a habit of taking a small adventure, just the two of us. So our kids are off with their other parents, and it's one of these rare times that we have alone.
Okay.
So we'll go say hi to some family and whatnot, but we'll plan to do something for ourselves, and that's kind of becoming an annual thing for the past 3-4 years. And I think this year we're just gonna escape the noise. We're gonna go hike a new mountain that we haven't hiked before.
I don't know what's so fucked up about that, bro. That's legit.
Get I'm getting like just getting rid of the kids, you know. Yeah, I mean, we have a little celebration with the kids and you know that kind of stuff, but we're also we don't want to apply pressure to the kids and these obligations that they have, right? It can become a fucked up deal. So, you know, we're very flexible on that. And I fly back home the day before Thanksgiving. And I don't know that I'll even make it back to my house until Saturday. You know, there's no telling.
Right. The same thing
Yeah.
with me. I fly home the day before Thanksgiving, and then our Thanksgiving dinner will be definitely ordered out. I mean, I'll have to figure out something. I mean, I've already kind of looked at places, but yeah, I don't get to do my normal this year. Thanksgiving, you know, like I said, you just it's a day to remember what you're thankful for, but be with your families, be with your friends. I mean, the family you choose, like here at Toxically Male, my family that I chose are my brothers that are here. Stick with the family that you choose, not the families that you're fucking forced with. I mean, if they're good, then great. But you'll always have family someplace. And from those of us here to those of you out there, we hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. You got anything else, Chris?
No. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
What about you, Chuck?
Good. Said it all. Adios, amigos.
All right. Well, like we say, we've done the talking. You've done the listening. It's time for us to get our asses back to work. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Veterans Day.
Stick like oak, steel toe boots kicking up the smoke, sweat on the brow, dirt in the soul. Sunrise hits a weathered face, hammer swings in a steady race. Hard-earned pride ain't no disgrace.